Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with the Huracan STO and we're going to go through its stage 6 effects. First things first, let's get a feel for where the car sits at stage 5 only. It is actually one of the decently quick cars, however it is not quick enough to outright beat Harkness at stage 5 only. The car seems to like long nitrous duration. Final drive adjusted to the highest evo point usually will do the best, and also a high grip on the tire. However, the car does also do very well and beats dyno without having to really fine-tune. And at stage 5 only, it seems almost like the stock translocation will do its best as far as getting a nice time out of the car. The thing about this car is the shift pattern is very similar to recent cars. They're all instant second and then nitrous third or fourth depending on the upgrade level. With shorter nitrous or with super long nitrous duration, you really don't need to wait until fourth gear. You can just do third gear right around, I would say 7,000. I hit it a little early there. Early nitrous doesn't help the car. It makes the tire spin. But utilizing basically the shift pattern that you can get for the best run with a fully maxed car, you'll still get a dyno beating car that is outright running about approximately 2/10 faster than what it dynos, making it a good car to look at for possibility of utilizing in live. We'll talk about that in a separate video, set up this car potentially for live racing. Right now, let's go through the stage 6s individually. Engine. You can tell that the performance point did not increase a lot, but the evo did jump. That's always a good sign. So engine will be a decent stage 6, it looks like. Let's take a look at the results from that. Watch the final drive adjustments. I mean, here you're not really going to do anything. It doesn't help. But the final drive adjustment is where you're going to see where this car can shine or not shine. Usually with engine, because of the additional, quote, power, you can lower the final drive and get a higher top speed. 9.363, a nice drop from 9.6. Still beats dyno the same way. We'll do one more run with engine, but after that I'm going to kind of skip along without doing runs because it takes up a lot of additional time. We know from experience that turbo and intake won't do as much. That is just a given with almost all tier 5 cars. But certainly engine is a decent enough stage 6 here. 9.3 already, and that'll get you down to a 9.1 almost, and should be essentially enough to do the licensing for Tempest 3 almost. So that is one stage 6 there. The other thing to understand is that this one stage 6 here is enough to finish the legendary Golden Cup assuming full fusions. So engine is one of those stage 6s that can squeeze you through on the right opponent, because the last race of the Golden Cup is kind of tough with this without stage 6. You just can't do it because the opponents all basically run 9.1 to 9.0. I didn't try hard enough to find an opponent that runs a lot more, but that's what it seems like. So turbo, obviously numbers doesn't look that great, and even with tuning I doubt it's really going to give us a whole lot here. So barely any change with final drive adjustment, and that's never a good sign. Okay, so we're going to stick with 9.475. I'm not going to run it, but again, with the shift pattern, assume about 2/10 faster, whatever you can actually run compared to what we're showing on the dyno. So turbo, pretty weak. Intake, let's see if intake at least dyno's better or worse. So here we go. Let's take a look at intake, slide. Again, you're mostly just going to be tweaking final drive here to get that last few evo points out, and then you can dyno at 9.5 is barely a 10th. So intake again coming in at the bottom as expected. Now, nitrous for some cars become a very good stage 6, but in this case it's questionable how good nitrous is going to be since we are already running the longest duration possible. But that doesn't mean nitrous isn't going to be good. So don't confuse the fact that it needs a long duration, less power nitrous to having it being useless, because the Evo points saying it's pretty good. 9.334 is actually quite decent, and we may be able to get even quite a bit more out of it. So despite the fact that it doesn't look like the car is nitrous dependent to perform well, the reality is it actually is. It's going to depend on nitrous, and it's going to do better than engine with nitrous. However, as of right now, the maximum change has been only about a 3/10 or so. That leaves a bit on the table here for these last three to shine. So let's go to body and take a look. 4-point jump here. What we really care about is here. That is a big jump. So body is definitely a strong stage 6. I would expect it to outperform nitrous immediately on the dyno, and it does. And we can probably get another, hopefully, point or two out of it. I'm not saying definitely, but let's see if I can get anything more out of it. 9.190 being the final time. So 1,000's better after a little tweaking. Again, I'm not messing with tire or nitrous. Longest duration nitrous, 0-100 tire seems to do just fine here. The only time that may come into play differently is when you go to tire itself, which, depending on how much extra grip it's adding, it could potentially cost you some time by putting it to 0-100. You may want to tweak it, but doesn't look like it from the number changes that it's going to be that much of an impact. It is definitely back to the engine and nitrous range, and the real question here is, if I shorten final drive, can I get a decent jump in time? 9.305. So engine, nitrous, and tire very close to each other at about 3/10 each. We'll have to go back and really figure out the exact order, but you can tell that we have three that are very close. Now, that being the case, that means body and trans should be the two that has some of the best impact, mainly because we know turbo and tire is pretty weak, and so far we have gained a lot from body. Ooh, that's big. That's big. That's probably going to beat body, actually. So transmission may be the top stage 6 for this car. In fact, it is. Okay, we know we got 9.190 was the best I got for the body, and here 9.149 already with the transmission. And let's run it, because I know that with the transmission, with body, with engine, with nitrous, and possibly even with tire, you can get through that legendary cup, assuming you get the right opponent. But with body and trans, you're guaranteed, because you're so much faster than what the opponent's going to be able to run, that you'll definitely get a great run in. Now, I screwed up and skip shifted, so it's not going to be the best possible time, but it should be 8 point something regardless. That's what I'm trying to show you. 8.97. It really should be like an 8.8, high 8.8s for this stage 6. So strong stage 6 is there, body and transmission. Let's put the two of them in, do that combination, then we'll test it against the other 5. And I think they may come out to be almost close to each other in overall performance, because out of the 5, 3 are pretty good and 2 are pretty weak, but we're talking about 5 versus 2 here regardless. So I think this may come out to be close to each other, closer to each other than normally expected. Okay, again, should be able to push this out a little further. The car should have better times. Now this car speed traps quite well, sprints quite well, so I don't really expect any issues from it in that sense. So 8.7 dyno on 2 stage 6s. We're going to put the other 5 in and dyno it and see what it comes out to be. Okay, let's try the others. Okay, so we do the other 5 and see what they do. And again, I think 8.6, 8.5 dyno is quite possible, or at least 8.7s. Yep, right on target with each other almost. Now, I think with the low tuning, the 5 should at least outperform the 2 by a little bit, but as you can see, they're very close to each other. So those 5 only adds up to the effect of those 2. That's pretty scary, but that's how this game works. All right, so that is the various stage 6 effects. Now, with regard to actually getting the car fully maxed and taking a look at its time, let's go ahead and put it to fully maxed status here. Okay, and then let's put it to max evo and run the car. Now, WR tuning may have a different, world record tuning may have a different setup. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to try to get the best I can out of the evo points, and we're just going to run it and see how it plays out. Okay, so looks like 7.662 on the dyno will be easily a 7.4 run, assuming it still consistently beats dyno the way it normally did. The good news about cars like this that naturally beats dyno and doesn't require special tuning is that you're not sacrificing any evo to get your dyno beating run, and that makes the car somewhat better in live than some others that may require sacrificial evo points just to make it a dyno beater. Those are now less favored in live than cars like this. 7.511 on a 7.662 dyno. I'm sure it's a 7.4 car, it's just that I haven't driven it that well. So that is right there your Huracan Evo STO. Now, speed traps for this car, again, you could probably lower some grip if you really need to push the speed trap, but I suspect the best way to get the best speed trap, let's put it to a point where speed trap may be a lot harder, something like this, where we're not as upgraded, because that'll demonstrate the speed trap effects a lot better than if we were fully upgraded. Okay, so pretty much 3, 4, and 5 upgrade range, and let's go ahead and take a look at the speed traps. One of the final speed trap in, actually, you know, one of the final speed traps in the Legend Cup is actually 270 in the quarter mile, which obviously is impossible here with this level of upgrade. But at stage 5 only, you can actually get pretty good top speed out of the car. One of the thing again is you always want to test first if less grip will help. Okay, and another point is more aggressive but shorter duration nitrous may help. Let's just set ourselves a target number here of 220 mile per hour, and let's just take a look, see if the car's capable of it. If it's not capable of pushing past speed trap, it's probably not one that you can do without upgrading to get speed traps done. But if it can, then obviously that's a good sign. So let's take a look, see how this plays out on the speed trap. I would again utilize the same shift style and try to push the car through utilizing nitrous at the very end. And what do we get? 223. So it does outrun its speed trap by a little bit as long as you time the nitrous and utilize it a little bit late. So it's a good car all around. Can this car beat Tempest 3 Tier 5? My gut feeling is absolutely, because Tempest 3 Tier 5 really doesn't have that challenging difficulty challenges other than 707 performance point. You need to do a 0-100 in 2.313, and then 699 you have to do a 2.342. Let's just take a look at that 699 one just one time, just to make sure that this is a car that can definitely destroy Tempest. Now 699 can allow you to basically put everything to stage 5, or leveraging, say, this really strong stage 6s like transmission, while not putting certain other parts to stage 5. But here we're at 694. I think if I put trans in, it may hit 700 or it may not. Oh, 699. So 698 actually. So great. We can do full stage 5 full fusion for that 699 challenge in Tempest, and that will get you right on through too. At 0-100 is a 2.3 something. We're gonna have to take a look, see where that is the best. 2.3. I may want to put it in second gear. 2.411. Let's try third gear. There it is. 2.302. So third gear is the strength gear for sprints. Fourth gear, let's see if fourth gear is, oh, fourth gear is even better. So fourth gear right here, 1.983. So this car basically 5.0 final drive for sprints. And I didn't even put the tire to 0-100. That'll probably be even better. So right there. And then, you know, for speed traps, you want to put it the other way where the top of the gear or this gear ends at the speed trap that you're shooting for. Let's go for that 270 mile per hour speed trap. That's right there, 273. Stage 5 only. That's the final speed trap for Legend. And even without lowering tire grip, just by putting stuff here, you can do that in the quarter mile at stage 5 only. So that is your Huracan STO review. Natural dyno beater, can beat Tempest 3, is pretty good overall. And the strongest stage 6s, once again, listed in order here for you. Okay, so with transmission coming in on top. All right, let me know if you have any questions about this car. My opinion is, the good news is this car is pretty decent. The bad news is, of course, I haven't really found a low performance point high evo setting for it yet, so that's still in the works. But overall, it's a decent car for a gold key required car, and it is one of the last Huracans in as far as the line of this car, as far as Lamborghini is concerned. All right. Once again, feel free to comment. If you like the video, leave a like. If you like my channel and would like to get notifications when I put up new videos, then please subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.